Karlie Red just dropped a nuclear-level receipts bomb on Kirk Frost, so you might want to settle down for this one. And believe me when I say that Atlanta's hip-hop and love streets will never be the same. I mean it. Have you ever witnessed a man so enraged that he appeared to want the earth to simply split open and engulf him? That's precisely what transpired when Karlie revealed what supporters now refer to as Kirk's death knell. And no, this isn't a fuzzy video or a simple text thread. We discuss credit card statements, timestamps, locations, and screenshot warfare in detail. Karlie arrived legally prepared, loaded, and locked. The true query now is, was Rasheeda aware of this the entire time? Was this ammunition being saved by Karlie for a 10-year revenge plot? And why is the internet claiming that this one receipt alters everything we believe to be true about Kirk? So, once we dissect this, buckle up, sweetie. You'll see why fans are calling for Kirk to be removed from Season 13 right away. Are you completely prepared for the mess? Let's begin. Hold on tight, because Karlie Red's last shocking revelation about Kirk Frost just blew the internet apart. Fans are describing it as a true game changer. To put it mildly, this issue isn't limited to reality TV. It's a shocking revelation that puts everyone on edge to put the truth together. Furthermore, when we state that Karlie dropped the last receipt, we mean that it is the type of proof that precludes further fabrications. No more lies, no more diversion. Simply the unvarnished facts. Let's take a moment to go back in time. Over the years, we've all witnessed Karlie and Kirk's back and forth. Shade and accusations, 1 minute awkward silence. The next, question sidestepped. However, beneath all of that tension on reality TV, there was a trail of secrets that only Karlie knew, and Sis just chose to set the whole thing on fire. What exactly did she drop then? Let's discuss it. It seemed like the culmination of a plotline we've been following for over 10 years when it occurred on the most recent episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. In contrast to her typical turn-up intensity, Karlie Red, never one to hold her tongue when it really counts. She walked into the scene with a calm, calculated energy. This was unique. It seemed as though she had a plan. Her words caused the entire room to freeze as she sat across from the group and gave Kirk a direct look. Are you aware of what you did? Now everyone else will as well. Then the bomb was dropped. A plain printed receipt folder, not a text message, a rumor, or hearsay. Kirk's entire attitude shifted, as you could see, as soon as she took it out. There were purportedly bank records, hotel reservations, screenshots from security, cameras, and even direct messages that were much more detailed than anything Kirk ever acknowledged in front of the cameras. Since it appeared that she had created a comprehensive timeline detailing every dubious action Kirk had ever taken behind the scenes. Fans on Twitter immediately dubbed it the Love and Hip Hop Pentagon Files. Here, however, things took a drastic turn to the left. Karlie read more than just the receipts. She dissected them month by month, step by step. She presented a detailed account of treachery that began long before Kirk and Rasheeda were together. That deep, indeed. In fact, one of the invoices suggested that Kirk kept a second phone that was supposedly just used for side chats and registered under a false name. Everyone was wondering, why are you doing this now? When Rasheeda posed the question and Karlie's answer chilled the room. Because I had had enough of people lying in peace. Prior to drawing any conclusions, let's make anything distinct. These receipts weren't pulled by Karlie merely to create a dramatic moment. It wasn't about pettiness, based on the way she presented everything. It was a matter of closure. She wanted to leave with her head held high and the truth in the open. And it was obvious that she was ready to abandon the story she had been forced into for years. However, the twist is here. Not everything was denied by Kirk. He didn't, for a change, turn the tables, storm away, or use your irrational defense against us. He appeared as though every bone in his body wanted to vanish as he sat there in silence. That stillness really got to the crowd. Okay, because if there was, that was all the time he had to defend himself. However, Twitter exploded when he chose to ignore the situation. Seemingly realizing that there was no point in disputing the facts, Karlie just did what nobody else dared to do. "This is why you don't play with a woman who saves receipts," was one of the replies that went viral on Instagram, and a few people stitched the episode on TikTok. There was no denying the energy. Kirk had been lying for years, and Karlie had the files the entire time. The fans were shaken. Karlie didn't even bat an eyelid. She seemed to have been anticipating that moment for years. Let's now discuss why this is so important. Since this isn't merely a convoluted plot, it's about how Karlie Redd, who has been referred to on the show as anything from thirsty to extra, simply overcame everyone who had any doubts about her. She produced written evidence, took charge of the story, and left without a tear in her eye. That's resolution, not drama. Not to be forgotten, if Kirk has been concealing secrets this deep, the whole issue has enormous repercussions. For Rasheeda, what does that mean? And now that this Pandora's box is formally open, how will the other actors respond? Because, let's face it, drama is what makes love and hip-hop in Atlanta flourish. However, it feels different right here. It seems like a sea change for the entire dynamic of the show, not just for Karlie. This concludes part 1. This video includes Rasheeda's off-camera remarks that were never included in the show. Fans were unaware of the depth of Karlie's relationship with Kirk, and producers had to intervene before things became violent backstage. And when people believed it couldn't, Karlie blasted the internet with yet another clip saying it couldn't get any messier. He claimed she said something absurd, but this time it wasn't a whisper or anything. Instead, she released an extensive screen capture of a late-night conversation with a woman whose voice fans instantly recognized. Yes, Kirk's former fling from season 6 was said to have the same voice. The person he swore was merely a family friend, the same female. This is where things start to become cold. Unknowingly captured on camera. The woman remembers seeing Kirk at a hotel a few weeks ago, not for a pointless business meeting. She even chuckled when she mentioned that Karlie still believes he has changed. The audacity, baby. Fans are now piecing together the pieces that they were unaware were missing, much like a puzzle. The fuzzy figure in Karlie's previous clip's background, it fits the woman's silhouette in this call. It's the stomps of time align. The receipts are increasing in number, up and in front of our very eyes. It's the image of Kirk Frost, the man who avoided controversy and blamed everyone else for season after. Season is disintegrating. Karlie wasn't finished, though not at all. For what admirers are referring to as the ultimate blow, she went live on Instagram with almost 100,000 people watching. Karlie took a seat, serene, barefaced, without glitz, and said 4 words. "There's nothing left for me." She became more forthcoming than ever before. Not Love and Hip Hop's typical sloppy Karlie. This version was intense, unvarnished, and nearly shattered. She described how Kirk had been gradually making his way back into her life by posing as a co-parent and business partner, constantly crossing boundaries and blurring lines. She claimed that he would attend her events, assist with filming, and even bring meals to her trailer. Since Karlie secretly still thought Kirk was different this time, she gradually relaxed her guard. But it was the manipulation, not just the betrayal, that broke her heart. Kirk, she claimed, persuaded her to cut off other just to free up room for him once more. Decent folks. Karlie realized she was being manipulated again after this woman came forward and she started receiving late-night calls, texts, and hotel meetings. The spectators were left in shock on national television. Comments came flooding in. Karlie was commended by some for her courage. Kirk was pulled into the internet's depths by others. Others questioned whether this was just another twist in the hip-hop and love story. However, there is nothing predetermined about the timing of these receipts or the intensity of Karlie's feelings. It seems to be the last chapter of a woman realizing the truth. What's even more is that Kirk has been so silent that it's unnerving. He usually responds quickly with dodgy memes, outdated screenshots, or Instagram tales. However, there was radio. Silence following Karlie's live performance, not a single word, not a repost, not even a mysterious emoji, just nothing. Since the man would have utilized it by now if he had evidence to clear his record, that quiet said a lot. Karlie, on the other hand, is walking around with her head held high, saying, "I lost a man, but I found my peace." Phew. And just when fans thought this story was coming to an end, the plot twist appeared. A source close to the production leaked a bit of unreleased video just before the release of Part 1 of the Love and Hip Hop ADL reunion. In it, Karlie is shown sitting down with producers in private and sobbingly confessing that she had Kirk's final message. She had no intention of making a voice memo public. At 3 a.m., it was dispatched. Only a few days before her major debut. Kirk's voice is slurred in the video. He is tearful and admits, "I made a mistake. I always say, I don't even know who I am without you." The audience sat in stunned silence as the video came to a close. "I thought you'd be there, even if I didn't deserve you." For clout, did Karlie really sacrifice everything? Or was this her rising to her feet after being pulled through the mud for years by a man who never showed her any real respect? Just when? It seemed like there was no more emotional devastation to come. One more cold-blooded bomb is dropped by Karlie. The last receipt was not merely an imprecise accusation or a jumbled detail. No, this was a comprehensive chronology that included location tags, bank transactions, and images, which made everything incredibly clear. And the whole set fell silent when she showed it. Nobody breathed. Kirk himself appeared to have been knocked out cold. Here's the bit. Kirk wasn't the only person exposed by this last receipt. In everyone's eyes, it cleared Karlie, who had any doubts about her. As it happens, she had been telling the truth from the beginning. The deceit, gaslighting, and twisted manipulation were all genuine. Additionally, Karlie had been secretly gathering evidence in anticipation of the time to unleash the storm, while Kirk continued to fabricate tales season after season. And everything changed when, sweetie? For the first time, there was no comeback for Kirk. No fancy language, no dubious justifications. Nothing. Because Karlie had him cornered this time. A hidden phone bill was discovered on the last transaction. Kirk never told Rasheeda that he had been paying for a second number. You know what? Just as he was lying to Rasheeda about getting back in touch with family, he had used that second line to call and text Karlie. However, things worsen. According to the bank documents, Kirk made many payments to a secret Venmo account to his Karlie's for private concerns, emergencies, and travel. The timestamps precisely corresponded to the periods when Karlie flew inexplicably to Miami, New York, and Los Angeles without ever disclosing her location to the public. And sure enough, the GPS receipts confirmed it. Fans were taken aback. No one could dispute it any longer. Kirk had been on both sides of the argument. He was more than a liar. He was a cunning liar who orchestrated a whole parallel life while Rasheeda publicly supported his development. The very next shot shows Rasheeda storming off the set, demanding that the cameras be cut, and screaming into her microphone, "I'm done protecting this man." You can hear the raw pain in her voice. If you were thinking that she was going to sit back and ignore all of this, you should think again. At last, there was no denying the betrayal. Rasheeda had supported Kirk during his adultery, public humiliation, and outside infants. However, it was the final straw. Karlie, meanwhile, refused to back down. She wasn't screaming, crying, or pleading. To be heard for once, finally at peace, she was focused and icy. She was aware that she couldn't take back what she had said. She was aware that Rasheeda would be devastated, but she also understood that the truth had to be revealed. Not only for her, but for all women who have ever been accused, manipulated, and labeled insane for speaking the truth. and a small number of fans left. Every platform has an abundance of comments. TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter are all on fire. Perhaps the most underappreciated real person on the show is Karlie. Rasheeda needs to get up. She was aware that Kirk had been garbage since the first season. The entire Love and Hip Hop Atlanta plotline is altered by this. Old videos of Karlie trying to warn Rasheeda and Rasheeda shutting her down were being unearthed. There were times when Kirk, well aware that he was concealing things, brushed off charges. The story suddenly changed direction. Karlie transformed from the untidy antagonist to the unsung hero. Karlie didn't gloat, though. This was her big tell-you-so moment. She didn't make fun of it. The truth hit her harder than any other when she simply allowed it to sit. A single quote could be offensive. What comes next? According to production-related sources, Kirk and Rasheeda have ceased filming. Rumor has it that Rasheeda is done both, contractually and emotionally. According to reports, she told producers she didn't want her marriage to be brought up on national television once more. Who could blame her, really? Karlie's stock, meanwhile, simply soared. She has reportedly been promised a prominent role in the upcoming season by the producers, who are also considering awarding her executive producer credit for introducing the season's most dramatic plotline. Fans are cheering her on as she finally takes charge of the story. But the true triumph was when Karlie took back her authority. She demonstrated to everyone that the truth always comes to light, regardless of how long it takes. Instead of yelling or fighting, she used cold, indisputable receipts to turn the tables. The franchise as a whole. Now, some viewers are calling for Kirk to be removed from the program entirely, arguing that it's time to stop praising mentally manipulative men and escape punishment. Now that all the lies have been exposed, some people want to see Karlie and Rasheeda have an honest, uncensored, woman-to-woman conversation, a dot. And one thing is certain, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta will never be the same again, regardless of what occurs next. This episode was more than just dramatic. It was a reckoning, a pivotal moment. Every toxic plot point that the show let go on for too long was reflected in a mirror. There's no turning back now that Karlie's last receipt has been released. Everything is altered by this. And few, Chili, don't think that Karlie's reading is over. This situation simply keeps getting worse, messier every second. How do you feel about the several receipts that Karlie just showed Kirk? You believe that is merely more smoke and mirrors? Or does it actually change everything? We need to talk about it, so please share your ideas in the comments section. Additionally, if you enjoy this tea and would like to continue drinking with us whenever anything blows up in the realm of hip-hop and love, press the subscribe button, press the notification bell, and, of course, press the like button to express your affection. This was crazy, but the next video will be even crazier. I'll see you all at the following one. Remain sloppy. May you be blessed. Be blessed.